Hi guys, today's video we're going to do the summary of chapter 10 application layer. So here's the PowerPoint presentation about the summary of this chapter. So let's start. Application layer. The application layer is closest to the end user. Um, it is the layer that provides the interface between the application used to communicate and the underlying network over which messages are transmitted. Application layer protocols are used to exchange data between programs running on the source and destination hosts. The next one will be the TCP or Transmission Control Protocol or IP Internet Protocol Application Layer Protocol. The TCP IP Application Protocol specify that format and control information necessary for many common internet communication functions. Application layer protocols are used by both the source and destination devices during a communication session. For the communications to be successful, the application layer protocols implemented on the source and destination host must be compatible. So peer-to-peer networks. In the peer-to-peer or P2P network model, the data is accessed from a peer device without the use of dedicated server. The P2P network models involve two parts. The P2P networks and P2P application. Both parts have similar features, but in practice work quite differently. Let's move on for the SMTP operation. SMTP message formats require the message header and a message body. While the message body can contain any amount of text, the message header must have a properly formatted recipient email and address and a sender address. Let's move on for the POP operation. POP operation is used by an application to retrieve mail from a mail server. With POP, mail is downloaded from the server to the client and deleted on the server. This is how POP operates by default. The server the server starts the POP service by passively listening on the TCP port for 110 for client and connections requests. When the client wants to make use of the server, it sends a request to establish a TCP connection with the server. The next one is the IMAP or IMAP operation. IMAP is another protocol that describes a method to retrieve email messages. Unlike POP, when the user connects to an IMAP capable server, copies of the messages are downloaded to the client application. The original messages are kept on the server until manually deleted. Users view copies of the message in their email client software. Users can create a file hierarchy on the server to organize and store mail. That file structure is duplicated to delete a message. The server synchronizes that action and deletes the message from the server. The next one will be the domain name service or the DNS. In data network, devices are labeled with numeric IP addresses to send and receive data over networks. Domain names were created to convert the numeric addresses into a simple recognizable name. So on the internet, these domain names such as http semicolon slash double slash triple w dot cisco.com are much easier for people to remember than 192.133.221.25 or the IP address of the that domain name service or that site, which is the actual numeric addresses for this server. So if Cisco decides to change the numeric addresses of www.cisco.com, it is transparent. So now let's proceed for the next one, which is the dynamic host configuration protocol. So the dynamic host configuration protocol, or the DHCP for Internet Protocol version 4 or IPv4 in short, a service automates the assignment of IPv4 addresses, subnet mask, gateways, and the other IPv4 networking parameters. So this is referred to as a dynamic addressing, and the alternative to dynamic addressing is static addressing. So when using static addressing, the network administrator manually enters IP address information on host. So when a host connects to the network, the DHCP or Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol is contacted. So this is referred to as a dynamic addressing. So the alternative dynamic addressing is static addressing. When using static addressing, the network administration manually enters IP address information on host. So let's move on for the next one, which is the file transfer protocol. So file transfer protocol, or aka FTP, is another commonly used application layer protocol. FTP was developed to allow for data transfer between a client and a server. So an FTP client is an application. So an FTF or FTP is a file transfer protocol. Client is an application that runs on a computer that is used to push and pull data from an FTP server. So to be successful transfer data, FTP requires two connections between the client and the server. So let's move on for the next one, which is the server message block. So the server message block, or SMB, is a client-server file sharing protocol that is described the structure of shared network resources. So such as directories, file, printers, and serial ports. It is a request response protocol. All SMB messages share a common format. So this format uses a fixed size header followed by a variable size parameter and data component. So SMB message can start, authenticate, and terminate sessions. So next one, so let's move on for the summary of the chapter 10 in the NetAcad. So chapter 10, application layer. The application layer is responsible for directly accessing the underlying processes that manage and deliver communication to human network. So this layer serves as the source and destination of communication across data network. The application layer application services and protocols enable users to interact with the data network in a way that is meaningful and effective. So applications are computer programs with which the user interact and which initiate the data transfer process at the user's request. So services are background programs that are provide the connection between the application layer and the lower layer of the networking model. Protocols provide a structure of agreed upon rules and processes that ensure service running on one particular devices can send and receive data from one range of different network devices. So Delivery of data over the network can be requested from a server by a client or between these devices that operate in a P2P arrangement. In P2P, the client server is a relationship in established according to which device is the source and destination at the time. So messages are exchanged between the application layer services at each end device is accordance with the protocol specification to establish and use this relationship. So protocols like HTTP or hypertext protocol, for example, support the delivery of web pages to end devices. So SMTP, IMAP, and POP support sending and receiving email. SMB and FTP or file transfer protocol enable user to share files. So peer-to-peer application make it easier for consumer to seamlessly share media in distributed fashion. So the domain name service or DNS is resolved the human legible names used to refer to a network resources into numeric addresses usable by the network. So clouds are remote upstream location that store data and host applications so that users do not require as many local resources and so that users can seamlessly access content on different devices from any location. So all of these elements work together at the application layer. So the application layer enables users to work and play over the internet. So that's what the summary talk about in chapter 10, which is the application layer. So hope you guys learn something about this video, and thank you for watching, and God bless you all.